After returning with the milk, I, like many other players, have been getting stuck into this season of the Division 2's climax mission, which sees agents working through the setting of the game's second raid, Operation Iron Horse, to come face to face with a formidable final boss. Whilst to some, this climax was fairly simple as mechanics aren't all that different from the raid, to others it's been quite confusing. Not to mention that there's a mechanic on the final boss which, if you don't fully understand, will softlock the encounter, which we'll cover later. You might also have seen on my channel that we've worked out how to one-shot the final boss, skipping a lot of mechanics in the process. I intend on covering that in a separate video which will be linked once it's done. Before we get onto specifics, I just want to very quickly cover builds and a generic tip or trick. Firstly, build. I'd recommend, for your first clear, to run 3 Red Strikers builds and 1 Eclipse Foam with a Healing Hive. The Strikers builds I'd recommend look like this, with one person switching out the grouper piece for Coyote's Mask. All rolls a crit chance to 50%, then into crit damage, which accounts for Coyote's mid or long buff bonus crit chance. The Eclipse build looks like this. BTSU can be switched for Birdie's Quick Fix Backpack if you're having trouble staying alive. You can go all in on status effects, all in on repair skills, or a mix for the rolls, though I'd recommend status effects here. In our speedier clears, including our 14-minute run, we kept the Eclipse build the same but alternated between a few different builds for the DPS builds. In general, all 3 DPS ran the same thing at any given time, so my POV is fairly representative of the teams, but those builds are as follows. Firstly, Shotgun Headhunter. We experimented with high-end builds, but ultimately settled on the Old Faithful. 4-piece Hunter's Fury all rolled to headshot damage, 1-piece Providence, and the Chain Killer named Chest Piece. For weapons, 1886 with Rifleman came in strong for initial stacking, and the new Sheriff Shotgun is absurd as a main. You can literally snipe with this thing and the damage is ridiculous. Next, Strikers. We ran 2 full Strikers, 1 Coyote, and they're the cookie cutter build. All rolled for crit chance to 50%, then crit damage, with a killer or ranged Lexington and either a brazen ACS 12 or the Sheriff as your backup / close range option. Finally, for the one generic tip I'd put above anything else, target prioritization. It's no secret that master level enemies hit like an absolute truck. With this, it's hard to know what to shoot first because everything seems like a massive threat, but you should absolutely prioritize getting rid of the heavy gunners, then shotgunners, then everything else. Those gunners are a real problem. They don't stagger like normal enemies. They intermittently just shrug status effects off, they take a huge amount of damage to neutralise and deal even more to you. Get them gone. Similarly, the shotgunners seem to have been equipped with sniper rifles. They can and will cross-map one-shot you if you don't dispatch them quickly. With that covered off, let's get into the mission itself. On loading into the mission, you'll be met with a big open area containing some enemies, a train, and most notably a large gun in the middle. For now, your objective is very simple. Clear the enemies and subsequent waves that spawn whilst not getting hit by the spinning gun. You'll have 4 spawn points, 2 at the back and 2 at the front of the map, with equal distribution left and right. I'd recommend dividing and conquering to speed this up a bit, as well as stop anything leaking and surprising you. The gun will intermittently spin left, right, or shoot straight down the middle of the map. Someone on your team should call out which direction it's spinning so that players on that side can take cover or move out of the line of sight of the gun. It will immediately bring you down to your health gate, so it's fairly important you avoid. Once you've cleared all enemies, you'll be asked to hack the gun. Head to where it is and a hacking square will open up. From here, it's very simple. Repeat what you did before hacking, but with at least 1 player in this radius. Once hacking is complete and you've killed the enemies, you're done and can move on to the next area. Optionally, if you wear Turmoil and shoot enemies on the right hand side of the map here, you'll damage and eventually kill a boss who's otherwise unhittable. This will cause the first boss encounter of the mission to be replaced with a single hunter encounter who will drop a mask. Next up, what's colloquially called Foam Alley in Iron Horse, though Fire Alley might be more fitting here. Similar to the first room, there aren't any crazy mechanics. You're going to kill a bunch of enemies whilst avoiding foam mines on the floor. It's worth noting that these foam mines won't give you normal foam. It's instead the Iron Horse specific reinforced foam. To get out of this, either hit fire at your feet which will break the foam, or get a teammate to shoot your feet which will have the same effect. After clearing the first few waves of enemies, you'll be asked to extinguish the fire. To do so, head to this area right near the entrance to the first room and turn a valve. Enemies will then spawn again and you can fully clear them before worrying about anything else. Once the area is entirely clear, head to the far end of the room where there's a burning fire and shoot out the water box above it, which will extinguish it and allow you to move on. It's worth noting that this can be done at any point after turning the valve. I'd just recommend doing it after for safety if it's your first clear. On to the first boss of the mission. If you killed the boss in the entrance area, this entire encounter will be replaced with a single hunter. If not, here's what you need to know. Within the map, there are 5 specific points of interest to move through the fight. Firstly, the chains. These take you right up to the top floor of the foundry, allowing you to access 2 of the other points of interest. It's worth noting that one, none, or both sides of the top floor might be on fire, but this won't deal a ton of damage. The first of our upstairs points of interest resides on the top floor, called Diagnostics. In this mission, you only need to interact with this once, right at the start. If you drop down a single level, you'll reach point of interest 2, blue valves. At certain points throughout the fight, a single one of these valves will be steaming and you'll need to interact with it to stop that. I'll get into when that occurs shortly. For our final 2 points of interest, we're going to be heading back down to the ground floor. Firstly, all around the map you'll see these white/yellow boxes. During the fight, a single one at a time of these will spark, and similar to the blue valves, you'll need to interact with them to stop it. Finally, there are 3 equally spaced gates which you can spot by standing on the ground floor and looking towards the foundry on 3 corners of the map. On the centre platform, which is often used as a safe crutch position to shoot from in casual raids, you'll notice steam which will disorient you if you run through it. If you wish to play up here, you can walk through it without getting disoriented. Simply go on the far left or right hand side of it and it won't affect you at all. Now that we've covered off the main points of interest, let's get into how this fight plays out. Firstly, you'll optionally kill enemies, then head to the top floor and press the diagnostic button to properly start the mechanics moving along. Remember the boxes and valves we've just talked about? We're now going to be interacting with those. You'll need to interact with 5 combined boxes and valves, which will always be in alternating order, starting with a box. Simply search around the map for a box that's sparking, interact with it, go up the chain, drop down 1 floor, look for a steaming valve, interact with it, drop back down, and repeat until this objective is complete. Once that objective is complete, we're on to the lava gates mentioned earlier. These gates each have 2 cogs on them. What you'll need to do is shoot these cogs until they clunk into place. And don't worry, you can't overdo it. Doing this will spawn 2 red lights in the centre. Shoot those red lights out and the gate will open, exposing a lava core. Now you'll need to shoot out the lava core, but know that once his health bar is fully depleted, you'll only have a few seconds to get out of the way because it will shoot lava far in front of it, which can and will insta-kill you. Simply move to the left or right after destroying it and you'll be fine. Rotate around the map and repeat the lava process for the other 2 lava nodes and you're done mechanically. Next, 2 bosses will spawn from random doors. Firstly, you'll have an assault turret, grenade launcher, explosive seeker wielding cowboy, then you'll have a named enemy simply called RPG. It's my recommendation to kill RPG first and then move on to Mr. Cowboy. She's a pest, but not a particularly tanky one. Keep in mind that you can play very safe from this point on. The timer's gone, so if you need to deal with ads before moving on to the boss, feel free to. Once both bosses and all enemies are dead, you're done with this fight and can move on. Next up, the area I've been calling Crane. This is a very simple area which just revolves around killing enemies, so I won't spend too long describing it. All you need to know is that at the end, you'll be asked to find a way to open the door. To do this, you'll find 2 yellow boxes which are both visible from the platform next to the door. The first one is behind this netted area here, and the second one is just across the way in a hidden window. Shooting both of these will allow you to progress to the next area, Sniper Alley. On to Sniper Alley and Aqueduct. For the most part, this is a really simple area which just requires killing waves of enemies, but there is one mechanic you need to complete which brings with it one of the most painful enemy archetypes to exist in the game, Iron Horse Snipers. After clearing the first wave of enemies, you'll need to drain the water to progress. To do this, head to the back of the map and open a gate, which exposes a valve and a button. Once you turn this valve, 3 of the famous snipers will spawn in the previously gated off area above the door you entered through. Have your team ready to shoot these down quickly, because they will kill any build in one shot and they absolutely spam their weapons. Once the snipers are dealt with, waves of enemies will start spawning and you'll realise the water hasn't drained. To remedy this, go down the staircase near the valve to locate a fuse box. Interact with this box, then head up to the button next to the original valve. Interact with the button and you're done. You can clear the enemies and move on. I'm not going to cover the next rooms in full detail because they haven't really got anything special about them. You just need to clear enemies and move on. Finally, the bit I imagine most people have been waiting for, the final boss. You can breathe a partial sigh of relief here because you're now checkpointed, so if you wipe, you'll be able to go again without having to get back here. But don't get too comfy because this is a pretty tough fight. On entering the room, you should take note of 3 things. Firstly, you have 3 doors and a train positioned on each side of the cubic arena. This is where enemies will spawn from, and the 3 doors are all possible spawn locations for the final boss. Next, you'll notice 2 water cannons near the train side of the map. These are imperative to executing the time-constrained mechanics, so make sure you're comfortable with where they are. Finally, you'll see that the map is made up of walkways and pits. Throughout this fight, you shouldn't set foot off of the walkways. Since release, there's been a bug in Iron Horse which can make lava in these pits invisible, so even if they look clear, they might not be and you might die. The first phase of this fight is very simple. You just need to clear 7 to 8 waves of adds coming from the 4 areas discussed. Once you've cleared the final wave and the big boss up top has finished distributing his lava into the pits, you'll be given 20 seconds to put out said lava. To do this, head to the back of the map and look at both of the water cannons. One of the cannons will have a green lamp, indicating it's active. Go to that cannon, interact with it, and aim at the diamond objective marker. Hold down your gunfire button until you see the lava flash. At this point, you can get off and the lava will explode. Shortly after exploding the lava, the final boss will spawn. He's a very big tanky boy with fire rounds, as well as a stinger hive on his backpack, which will inflict damage and bleed to you if you're in close proximity. I would highly recommend having a player in a full PFE tank build here continuously shooting the mosquito pistol at him to maintain aggro, as if he focuses on a red player, they will die very quickly. The boss, similar to other Chunga archetypes in the game, will have armor plates you need to destroy. You can DPS these, crossbow them, or Ravenous Blue stack them, but take very careful note of one thing, your damage. This boss has a pretty unique mechanic of massive damage reduction whilst he's on fire, and once this damage reduction and fire kicks in, you have to act pretty fast or the encounter will be soft locked and you won't be able to reasonably complete it. So what do you need to do? Not dissimilar to the lava pools, you need to quickly identify which water cannon is lit up green and shoot water at the boss until the fire is fully put out and the damage mitigation is removed, which you or a friend shooting him can confirm. You need to shoot water at him for longer than you'd think to properly pull this off. What makes this especially challenging is that you have 20 seconds from when damage mitigation kicks in to water the boss, but the game doesn't give you any timer. Essentially, prioritise this watering above anything else once the boss gains his mitigation. Once the boss has been watered, there's no time limit on damaging him, so you can now clear all adds. Once they're all dead, they won't respawn, which makes the fight considerably less hectic. After killing all of the adds, damage the boss until his mitigation kicks back in and your damage numbers go low, then immediately repeat the water process again. After repeating this process twice, the boss should be dead and you can press on to extract. If the boss's damage mitigation came up and you didn't act quick enough on the water, you'll need to just wipe and start the fight again. Sure, you can kill him with very slow, reduced damage, but it's going to take half an hour and be no fun whatsoever. GG's, you've just completed what I would say is the most fun Master Manhunt mission to date. If you made it this far and enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing. Peace.